To Lake Erie Speedway for round number 2 of the Great Lakes ProAm Series presented by Moty's Lubricants. Lake Erie Speedway driven by Pro Waste. We're really excited to be back here and cranking up the competition to level number 2 in round number 2 here today. Beautiful northeast Pennsylvania. It's been a brisk day, full of overcast, so the track has not been getting beat down with sun, so track temps should be pretty good at the moment. Things are kind of changing as we get into the evening here, so the track conditions are probably a little bit different than what these guys have had practice on. I'm Ben Bruno. I'm joined in the booth today with Brian O'Connor. Brian, how you doing?
Ben, I'm doing great. It's good to be here with you today. I'm excited to see all the driving that we're gonna showcase here for everyone on the live stream and everyone here at the Speedway. It looks like the pits are pretty packed out for a Friday night. As we move on through tomorrow, I think it's gonna get packed out even more. It'll probably be jam packed in there. So very excited to have everyone out here. Excited to see everyone, and excited to see some good competition driving here.
Absolutely, and quick shout out to a couple other people that make this possible for us here at the Speedway to have this great event. Formula Drift sanctioning the Great Lakes ProAm Series. The champion of the series will receive their Link ECU Pro Spec license at the end of the rounds. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Moty's again, as well as Link ECU, who will give the top 3 in points a Link ECU at the end of the Pro-Am. If you're joining us on the live stream, you can see we have the track layout up on the screen currently. We're going to be starting down here in the front stretch just by the flag stand, heading down into outside zone number 1. You'll see 3 cones sitting down there. They have to initiate before that third and final cone down there. And then it's about an 8-foot section there right up against the big bank in turn number 4. Going to come down off of the bank in turn number 3. And you see where that red is. There's a decel zone to the first inner clip there. So we'll want to get the nose of the car as close and tight to that orange pylon and those 3 lines as possible. And then another decel zone going into outside zone number 2. Big thing that the judges are looking for is consistency there, filling that zone, and the smoothness and flow going into there. And then another decel zone into outside zone number 3, which will lead us to the finish. So basically, as we saw in round number 1, a couple of changes here for round number 2. There will be incomplete scores and zeros for round number 2. So we'll see how that goes into effect here for these drivers qualifying here tonight. Things could be interesting with that. If we do not fill the entire bracket, the top qualifier will get awarded, and there will be some bye runs. So you can see there with the layout, it does end in the center section of the track before we get over to the finish line. So things going to be interesting with these small rule changes that we're having here this year, this round. And just looking kind of for those same things from the judges on smoothness and filling those zones without, making it a problem for the chase driver.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. I think you touched on some really good points there. Some things I just wanted to mention. We really do have people from all over the place here. We've got people from Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, even from out of the country. We got a driver here from Ontario. So, people come from far and wide to come and drive this event. There's a lot to be said when you take home your Pro-Am license from winning this event. Lots of talent, lots of good competition out there. So really excited to see this driving tonight. Looks like we're bringing the first 2 cars on the track right now.
First qualifier that we're going to see here tonight is going to be the round 1 winner and top qualifier, Adam Heichman. He's from Newville, Pennsylvania. LS3 power under the hood of that Mustang. Absolutely phenomenal performance from him in round number 1. Looking to follow up and see if he can take that top spot here for the first 2 rounds of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. So he's had a lot of success. He's traveling for a lot of these competition series right now. So staying frosty behind the wheel of that Mustang. All right, and we're set. Adam Heischman waiting for the lights. Go on and go out. Heischman is off the line through the chicane, down into turn number 4, initiates right before that last cone, right there, up into outside zone 1, right up against the wall. Took a little bit of time to fill the zone completely. Nice inner clip into outside zone number 3. Coming up just a little bit short, got both of the wheels in there, but just past the line into outside zone 3. Good, solid first run for your top qualifier of round number 1, Adam Heischman.
Yeah, you can definitely see that that car is super dialed in. Another super interesting swap. You could tell he wheeled that really well, filled the outer zones really well, filled the inner zone well. And, I think that's going to lay down a good score. I think the judges are going to be pretty happy with that.
Up next, we're going to see Kevin Ferraro in his 328. It's got a turbo M52 under the hood. He is sponsored by Me, Myself, and I. And he hails out of North Canton, Ohio. Kevin finished on the podium in round number 1, always a true contender when he's out in the field here. So Kevin sitting at the starting line waiting to see the red lights and lay down his first qualifying run of round number 2. New livery on that car as well. I believe he got that on there just before Vibes. And while we got a second while we're waiting for Kevin to get going here. It's not just a Pro-Am competition here this weekend. It's drifting all 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Sunday until 4, tomorrow till 11, tonight until, 11:30 if I'm not mistaken. So come on out. You can get a ride in these cars. You can see the competitors. Adam Heischman score in line 23, angle 23, style 31 for a total of 77. So Heischman with a solid first run, but a little bit of room for improvement on his first run.
Yeah, I'd say for a first run, that was a really solid run. 77, not too bad. We'll see how everyone else does. Kevin Ferraro's off.
Kevin Ferraro into outside zone number 1, right into the zone, right up against the wall. A little bit shallow there coming out. Loses a little bit of angle heading into the inner clip. Into outside zone number 2, filling it very nicely. Nice and smooth transition to outside zone number 3. Maybe even dropping a tire out of outside zone number 3. See if that affects anything, but solid first run here for Kevin Ferraro. Alan Boss warming up the tires on his LS9 350Z as we await Kevin Ferraro's qualifying score.
Kevin Ferraro with a total score of a 76. We got a 24 on line, 21 on angle, and a 31 in style. Placing him into second place.
Alan Boss at the starting line. Adam Heischman sitting in first currently with a 77. Kevin Ferraro in second with a 76. See what Alan can do here. Alan hailing from Oak Harbor, Ohio. So another traveler to us here at the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. Alan out of the chicane down into turn number 4, straight into outside zone number 1. All the way up against the wall, absolutely pouring the smoke to it. Big power under the hood of the Z. Oh, gets a little bit stalled up on the angle in transition, heading into outside zone number 2, able to recoup well. Into outside zone number 3, painting that outside white line. I'd say without that little lock of angle there coming off the inside clip, that might have been as textbook as you want to do it from Alan Boss.
Yeah, I'd have to say that was a pretty wicked run from Alan Boss. That LS9 really screaming. Lots of smoke, lots of angle. Like you said, once he hit the inner clipping zone there, scrubbed a little bit of speed there, but he was able to make it up in outer zone 3 and then carried it through for the finish. So we'll see what the judges have to say. Looks like the score is up on your screen now. We got a 28 for line, 25 for angle, a 33 for style, bringing him to a total score of 86, which makes him the new leader.
3 drivers, Alan Boss now on top with that 86. We're going to see Aaron Spiegel driving the C5 Corvette here. Believe this is a loaner car potentially, if I'm not mistaken. Or a fresh look on the Corvette for him. Aaron Spiegel off the line through the chicane into turn number 4. Flicks to initiation, great flick, filling the zone nicely, maybe leaving it just a touch early into the inner clip. Very nicely done there for Aaron. Into outside zone number 2. Scrubs a lot of speed back to the loud pedal. Maybe dropping a tire here in outside zone number 3. Good run for Aaron Spiegel in his first qualifying attempt.
Yeah, I'd say that was a super nice and clean run there. Really, I mean, almost textbook, just like Alan Boss, leaving a really good run there. So we'll see what the judges have to say.
Yeah, it looks like for these first couple drivers, maybe a little bit of nerves as there's been some smaller corrections and some room for improvement, but certainly no slouches starting us off here. Aaron Spiegel scoring 23 on line, 20 on angle, 32 on style for a total of 75 for Aaron Spiegel.
Up on the line, we've got Matt Moncalian in his Nissan 350Z. This is a K-Swap Z, so a pretty sweet car. Sponsors of Fedco Speed, PT Customs, Upside Works, and Dayco North America, Gem Sport, Chase Bays, ISR Performance, and Detroit Drifting Co. Matt is here from Lakeview, New York, so just a quick ride down the 90 to go see Matt. And here he goes.
Matt Moncalian through the chicane into outside zone number 1, right up against the wall. And there's a lot more power in this class than what Matt has. Did an absolutely phenomenal job filling there. Into outside zone number 2. Very nice, fills the whole zone. The outside zone number 3. Seems like everybody's kind of going in there with a little bit of mustard. Is Matt potentially dropping a tire out of outside zone number 3? Doesn't seem that has affected the judges' scoring very much at this point. So we'll see how that progresses moving forward and if they can clean it up a little bit there in outside zone number 3. Scores in for Matt Moncalian. 25 on line, 20 on angle, 32 on style for a total of 77. We'll put him in lock with Adam Heischman for 3rd.
All right, next up on grid, we've got Mike Steele and his pretty sweet-looking Nissan S14. Mike has a 5.3 Illuminator in this car here. Sponsors are Koenig Wheels, Dayco, Big Duck Club, Tire Stacks, Koenig Wheels, Driven Racing Oil, and Silver Suspension. Joining us from Woodland, Michigan.
Mike Steele brushes into the wall in outside zone number 1, gonna send him down the bank quickly. Nice and tight on the inner clip, coming up just a touch short on outside zone number 2. And outside zone number 3, strong finish for Mike Steele. Probably gonna see a little bit of a hit on the score here for Steele, catching the wall on outside zone number 1, making him leave the zone a little bit early. But overall, a good first effort from Mike Steele. Going to look to improve on that. As we see Chad Anderson warming up his tires over in turn number 1. Chad Anderson in his 325i. 5-liter Coyote under the hood, sponsored by Silver Suspensions, and hailing from Westland, Michigan. So another traveler. Mike Steele score in line 20, angle 20, style 23 for a total of 63. So you can see what a detriment catching the wall in outside zone number 1 there was for Mike Steele. Chad Anderson through the chicane into outside zone number 1, right up against the wall, heavy on the left foot brake, shooting down the bank towards the inner clip, gets right there, nose to it, outside zone number 2. He's in it, maybe just a touch shallow, into outside zone number 3 again, maybe dropping a wheel out the back. It is not meant to be run right up against those K-rails. So anybody that's watching at home that's like, man, why does this guy keep saying he's dropping wheels? It looks perfect. There's actually a couple foot gap there between the zone and outside 3 and outside 2 that you're not really supposed to be on those K-rails. But really good first run there for Chad Anderson, and see if he can improve on it here in run number 2.
All right, the score is up for Chad Anderson. It looked like a total score of 84, 28 for line, 21 for angle, and a 35 for style. Great run for Chad Anderson. Next up, we've got Mike Sampson and his BMW E30, LS swapped, and he is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He is from Syracuse, not Pittsburgh.
Mike Sampson through the chicane into outside zone number 1. I did confirm between rounds that is still manual steering in that car. Did a great job through outside zone number 1. Nice and tight into the inner clip. Great job in outside zone number 2, maybe the deepest we've seen through there yet. And perfect through outside zone number 3. A killer first run for Mike Sampson.
Yeah, let's give it up for Mike Sampson on that run. That was a sweet run for Mike. I know after Vibes, that car was a little smashed up. I was in a tandem with him, and we got into a little bit of a boop. So it's good to see it back out here. It looks like he's got it dialed in, and it looks like everything's going well for him. So really happy to see that. Mike Sampson's score is up with a 75. We got a 20 on line, 22 on angle, and a 33 in style. Great run, Mike.
So far, qualifying very, very tight across the board with the drivers that we've seen. Up next, we're going to see Tony Schmidt in his C5 Corvette. Got that thing dialed in between round 1 and round 2.
Tony's here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His sponsor is 5-7 Schmidt Family Racing.
No, Tony's been spending a lot of time on the simulator, trying to get as much as he can in through the chicane into outside zone number 1. Tony initiates, struggling a little bit to stay up there in outside zone number 1. That banking adds a lot of grip into the inner clip. Outside zone 2. Comes in a little bit short on outside zone 2, leaves filling it good. Outside zone number 3 fills it very nicely. Solid first run for Tony Schmidt. Maybe one of the first competitors that we've seen to struggle to keep it up there in outside zone number 1, so we'll see how that affects his score from the judges. But overall, a solid first run.
All right, we got Tony Schmidt with a 18 on line, a 15 on angle, a 17 on style for a total score of 50. And next up, we've got Ricky Gaston in the same C5 vet that that Aaron Spiegel was driving, I think. Is that right? Yeah. Looks like it. So he is here from Trenton, Michigan. So a little bit of a hike to come out here to Lake Erie Speedway.
Ricky through the chicane. Into outside zone number 1. Comes up just a little bit shy on the initiation. Oh, a total straighten, and he's in the wall. Damage to the C5 for Ricky. He's going to take that back pit side. I'm sure that there's some damage there to the front of that car, which Aaron Spiegel qualified pretty well in that Corvette. So we'll see what kind of implications that has as him and Ricky are sharing that car currently. So unfortunately with that, it straightened and some contact with the turn number 3 wall. That's going to give Ricky a 0 on his first qualifying run.
Next up, we've got Casey Rodriguez in his Nissan 350Z. It's a LS Swap Z. He's joining us from Fremont, Ohio.
All right, so we see the scores so far up on the screen. Alan Boss in that number 1 spot with an 86. Chad Anderson in second with an 84. Adam Heischman in third with a 77. Matt Moncallion in fourth with a 77. Kevin Ferraro in fifth with a 76. Aaron Spiegel in sixth with a 75. Mike Sampson in seventh with a 75. Mike Steele in 8th with a 63, and Tony Schmidt in 9th with a 50. So a couple of these guys going to definitely be looking to improve moving forward. Casey Rodriguez, another guy that puts tons of time in the lab on the simulator. I've had the pleasure of playing with him on several occasions. You know, really, it's crazy how that seat time really translates over to real life. So these guys getting as prepared as they possibly can leading up. Casey Rodriguez, LS powered Nissan 350Z, outside zone number 1, right against the wall. A little bit lack there of angle through outside zone number 1 into the inner clip. Comes through there with some good momentum. Into outside zone number 2, fills it absolutely beautiful. Tires right against that back white line. Outside zone number 3, same thing for Casey Rodriguez. And outside zone number 3, absolutely solid first qualifying run for Casey. Put it together, Lake Erie Speedway.
Definitely an awesome run for Casey Rodriguez. Another one of those cars that just sounds gnarly when it goes around the track. Lots of smoke, lots of noise, lots of limiter. Love to hear it. Next up, we've got Travis Holbrook and his, looks like a Nissan 240SX. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure it's a new car for him. He was driving a Z, a pink Z. I think it was pink or something like that. But now he's in this this 240SX, so we'll see how he does.
Casey Rodriguez score in 27 on line, 23 on angle, 32 on style for a total of 82. Solid first run for Casey. As Brian had mentioned, up next we're going to see Travis Holbrook. This is not an LS-powered 350Z. This is a Turbo KA S14. Initiates straight back to straight. So unfortunately, I know he's been fighting outside zone number 1 all through practice. So Travis, with that fail of initiation, will score a 0 on his first run. Only 2 zeros on the board so far, Brian, so track being good to these guys right now.
Yeah, thank goodness there's only 2. Hopefully, as we keep going, we don't see any more. You know, we got lots of talent coming up here on the field. So I'm hoping we lay down some solid runs, no car issues, and everyone gets a good qualifying lap. We're gonna run a couple commercials here real quick on the live stream, and then we'll be right back.
Ultimate lubricant. Moty's.
Hey guys, Jeff Jones here. I'm Dylan Hughes.
I'm Travis Reeder.
I'm Ken Gushkin.
I'm Matt Field. I drive Link.
They are the most reliable EC around, and they always deliver. Their global tech support gives me the advice I need every time I need it.
Their products are super easy to install and easy to set up for the performance that I want.
They stand behind their products and support their customers.
They're always innovating and delivering great new products and performance features.
I drive
Link.
Saturday, August 5th, 7 p.m., Lake Erie Speedway, driven by ProAm. Rain or shine, it's the return of Crash-A-Rama. Featuring school bus figure 8 racing, a wild and wacky motor camper trailer race, flagpole races, the unpredictable skid cars, the chain race, a fan burnout contest, a women's minivan demo derby, and for the first time ever, the Bone Shaker jet-powered semi. Then we'll cap off the night with a huge fireworks display. Gates open at 5 p.m., the destruction starts at 7. But get there early for free rides and a real race bus. Kids 3 and under and parking are free. Crash-A-Rama. Saturday, August 5th, 7 p.m., Lake Erie Speedway, driven by ProAm. It's the wildest show on wheels, and you gotta be there.
Welcome back to Lake Erie Speedway for round number 2 of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series presented by Moty's. I'm Ben Bruno, joined in the booth by Brian O'Connor. We've seen some really great runs, and we've seen some contact with the wall and outside zone number 1. You're seeing the leaderboard of the qualifying positions at the moment. Alan Boss still sitting on top, followed by Chad Anderson, Casey Rodriguez in 3rd, Adam Heichman in 4th, and Matt Moncallion in 5th. Got a couple ties up there too. So while we were at break, the top 12 will make 1 run, and anybody who doesn't place themselves in the top 12 will get a second go at qualifying, just to keep everybody informed. Up next, we're going to see Taylor Braun driving his Ford Mustang, small block Ford under the hood. Sponsored by Serve Pro of the Southtowns, TJB Industries, and Upside Works, hailing out of Blaisdell, New York.
I'm surprised you said it right, Ben. I'm very happy.
I try my best. Into outside zone number 1. Taylor Braun just a touch short on outside zone number 1. He did get in it but not all the way up against the wall. Big angle in transition into outside zone number 2. Taylor throwing it down here on his first qualifying run into outside zone number 3. A little bit deep there in outside zone number 3. Solid effort for Taylor on his first run.
And we've got Taylor Braun with a total score of a 69. Nice. We got a 22 for line, 20 for angle, and a 27 for style.
So up next, we're going to see Elliott Rose in his supercharged LS-powered Scion FRS. Elliott Rose, sponsored by Tire Stacks, hailing from Canton, Ohio. Lots of Ohio drivers in the series. Elliott Rose into outside zone number 1. Nice initiation right there up against the wall. Solid outside zone number 1. Oh, a little bit shallow into the inner clip. Punches it out into the track. Outside zone number 2. Fills it absolutely beautiful. Outside zone number 3. Fills it absolutely beautiful again. See how it plays in. Punching the inner clip.
So I got to say real quick here, Ben, I say it every time we're up here in the booth. That is one of my favorite cars. I mean, that thing is just sharp. The livery on it looks awesome. The car sounds sweet. The wheels are nice. Elliott's a good driver. Super good dude. Definitely one of my favorite cars to see come out here and compete.
Yeah, and I haven't touched on that yet today. You know, if you're in Erie or surrounding area watching the live stream and you're thinking, man, I'd love to be a part of this, you can get out here and be a part of it.
Looks like Elliott's score is up. We got a total of 58, 20 for line, 18 for angle, and a 20 for style.
All right, up next we have Aaron Farrell. We saw Travis drive this car in round 1 alongside of Aaron. Got the VQ under the hood. He added some nitrous to it. No sponsors. From Erie, Pennsylvania. Butters heads into outside zone number 1. Fills it really nice. Not a lot of power under the hood there. Not sure if he's running the nitrous setup. Into outside zone number 2. Doing an absolutely beautiful job with the VQ under the hood. Outside
Buttery
zone
smooth.
number 3. Solid first run for Aaron Farrell. One might call it buttery.
So, Ben, how good are you with the Mustang generations? What generation is that? Is that S197 or no? Probably not.
I am not a Mustang
no,
guy,
me
my
neither.
friend.
I do see they're getting more and more popular, though. I know FDF makes a kit for them. And we got Aaron Farrell's score up. We got a 16 for line, a 15 for angle, a 16 for style, leaving him with a total score of 47. Next up, we've got Jeff Clark and his Ford Mustang. He is coming from Carlton, Michigan. So another Michigan boy. We got all kinds of people here from Michigan today.
Jeff Clark through the chicane into outside zone number 1. Ooh, maybe missed the outside, or I'm sorry, the last initiation cone there. Might have been a little bit late. Missed outside zone number 1 because of that. A little bit short here on outside zone number 2. Gets out there towards the end of the zone. Into the third outer zone. Fills all of outside zone number 3 nicely. And, you know, I haven't talked about that either. I talked about it a lot in round 1. If you if you start your runoff with an air like that, it can really impact the rest of your run. Now, what's nice about this layout is going into that inner clip, there's a lot of forgiveness there. Scores in for Jeff Clark, 14 on line, 10 on angle, 20 on style for a total of 44.
Next up, we've got Savannah Campbell and her Nissan 240SX. It's got a K24 DET in it. Sponsored by Spoolin' Up Performance, Oddball Motorworks, and Race Lab Industries. Coming to us from Grand Island, New York.
Yeah, Savannah's got some great help there with Spooling Up Performance, getting that thing ready to go for the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. See what she can do here. That makes 2 Turbo KAs in the field for round number 2. And a ton of metallic flake in the paint of Savannah's car. Absolutely beautiful ride. Savannah heads through into outside zone number 1. Big flick, trying to make that KA work its way up the hill, and a straighten through the bank here. So not what Savannah was hoping to do with her first run. Could see the lack there of power heading into outside zone number 1, and then just not able to recoup from that. So unfortunately for Savannah, that will be a 0 on her first qualifying attempt.
So like we spoke about, Ben, you know, when you're not really set up in that first outer zone there, it makes it super hard to carry through the rest of the course, and to restart makes it really hard. So, you know, unfortunately, that's what we've got for that run there.
So a 0 on line, a 0 on angle, a 0 on style for a total of 0 for Savannah.
Next up, we've got Theon Nelson and his Nissan 370Z. It's got a VQ37 VHR. Sponsors are Mommy and Daddy. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. He's joining us from Elria, Ohio.
Theon, another car in the field that doesn't have as much power as some of the other guys. He makes it work. Theon Nelson into outside zone number 1. Right up against the wall in that Z. Absolutely beautiful initiation for Theon into the inner clip. Carried quite a bit of momentum through there, push him just a touch. Oh, and a little bit wide into outside zone number 2, maybe even dropping 2 tires on that flick and transition. Outside zone number 3 fills it nice. See what kind of impact that flick into outside zone number 2 has on his score.
So, you know, that's not a regular everyday VQ37. That's a supercharged VQ37. So as you can see, it's got some pep in its step. You know, that thing boogies. So that was an awesome lap for Theon. Excited to see what the judges have to say. Next up, we've got Josh Leatherborough with his 2009 135i. He's coming to us from North Collins, New York. Alrighty, we've got Theon with a total score of a 78, 25 for line, 21 for angle, and a 32 for style. So awesome run by Theon.
This is another one of those builds in the field here that are just absolutely phenomenal build quality. Josh through the chicane, heading into outside zone number 1. Just a little bit shallow on outside zone number 1. The banking pushing him out early to the inner clip. He's going to punch that. Maybe even dropping a tire there, punching the clip. And outside zone number 2. Oh, right up against the K-rails, maybe dropping 2 more tires on outside zone number 3. We'll see. You know, it seems like when these guys have had those smaller inconsistencies on dropping a tire or two out of the zone, it has heavily impacted their scores. So as of right now, the bubble of the top 12 is sitting at a score of 58. Joshua Leatherborough scoring a 17 on line, 14 on angle, a 14 on style for a total of 45. So back to the bubble. The bubble's at 58. If you score higher than a 58, you're going to find yourself inside of the top 12 and you're good to go. If you score lower than a 58, you're headed off to your second qualifying run to see if you can crack it.
Next up, we've got Blake Doge and his Nissan 240SX. It's got a turbo LS in it. So super excited to see what Blake lays down for his lap here. Shout out to Dirk. Hopefully you're feeling all right, man. Can't wait to see you back in the car over here. And, we're all hoping for a speedy recovery. I know.
Blake getting ready to roll. Blake is an absolutely awesome person. Last year I was in a pinch for a power steering line. He got me all hooked up and squared away. Blake heading into outside zone number 1. Initiates a little bit low on the bank, so he's going to miss outside zone number 1 to the inner clip. Nice job on the inner clip. Smoke pouring off the turbo LS 240 into outside zone number 3. Right in between the 2 white lines. Good first run from Blake, just coming up short there on the banking, as I had mentioned and Brian had touched on. If you don't hit that first spot in outside zone number 1, it can really make things difficult for you. So we kind of saw that as Blake made his way through the inner clip. Scores in for Blake Doge. 14 on line, 17 for angle, and a 19 on style for a total of 50. So going to fall just short of the top 12.
Next up, we've got Ryan Reese in his 1998 Toyota Chaser with a 1.5 JZ. Sponsor is Fatback Industries, and he's joining us from Mansfield, Ohio.
Fun fact for you, Mansfield, that's where the Shawshank prison is. It's also the home of the toilet. Yes, I'm serious. If you go to the bathroom, look at the back of a toilet, you're going to see a stamp on there that says Mansfield, home of the toilet. Ryan Reese into outside zone number 1. Right there up against the bank, a little bit shallow on angle and a little bit of correction there through the middle of the zone. A little bit wide on the inner clip. The outside zone number 2. Painting that white line. Solid first run here for Ryan Reese. Just a little bit of correction through outside zone number 1, but overall very solid first run for him.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the first right-hand drive car that we've seen qualify today.
You are correct. You are correct. And I believe it's also Ryan's first time competing in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series with us as well.
Awesome first run for first competition run in the Great Lakes Series. I mean, great first run for that. I'm excited to see what the judges have to say. Looks like next up we've got Andrew Wilder, getting those tires warmed up on that LS3 Scion FRS. Scores up for Ryan Reese. He's got a 70 total, 22 for line, 19 for angle, 29 for style. Awesome run. So Andrew Wilder actually owns Wilder Drift Parts, or engineering, or whatever you want to call it. Hooks me up with parts all the time. So shout out to Andrew. Really appreciate it. You and your wife are awesome. His sponsors are Zeknova Tires, Sicky Manufacturing, Stage Wheels, Renewable Lubricants, Grip Royal, and DeWilder Drift. Joining us from Circleville, Ohio.
Also, Andrew's first time competing in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. Initiates into outside zone number 1 and a straighten on initiation from Andrew Wilder into the inner clip. And outside zone number 2. Looks like there's a ton of grip dialed into the car for Andrew. Kind of fought that on the initiation, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe the straight in there on initiation into outside zone number 1 should be a 0 for Andrew. The bubble has now jumped to a 63 score, so you have to score 63 or higher to make your way into the top 12. Scores in for Wilder, it is indeed a 0, so unfortunately for Andrew's first qualifying run with the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series, going to be a 0.
All right, so as you can see on your screen here, all of the drivers on the right side will have to rerun. Anyone that has under a 63 will have to do a rerun. As of right now, in order, we have Alan Boston first, Chad Anderson in second, Casey Rodriguez in third, Theon Nelson in fourth, Adam Heisman in fifth, Matt McCallion in sixth, Kevin Ferraro in seventh, Aaron Spiegel in eighth, Mike Sampson in ninth, Ryan Reese in 10th, Taylor Braun in 11th, and Mike Steele in 12th place. So as of right now, that is your top 12. As we spoke about, all of the other drivers will have to do another run. So that includes Elliott Rose, Tony Schmidt, Blake Doge, Aaron Farrell, Josh Leatherbarrow, Jeff Clark, Ricky Gaston, Travis Holbrook, Savannah Campbell, and Andrew Wilder. All right, hang out with us just a little bit here. We're going to go on to a commercial break for those of you watching the live stream. And thanks for tuning in.
Ultimate lubricant. Moty's.
Hey guys, Jeff Jones here.
I'm Dylan Hughes.
I'm Travis Reeder.
I'm Ken Gushin.
I'm Matt Field. I drive Lincoln.
They are the most reliable ECU around, and they always deliver. Their global tech support gives me the advice I need every time I need it.
Their products are super easy to install and easy to set up for the performance that I want.
They stand behind their products and support their customers.
They're always innovating and delivering great new products and performance features.
I drive
Link.
Saturday, August 5th, 7 p.m., Lake Erie Speedway, driven by ProAce. Rain or shine, it's the return of Crash-A-Rama. Featuring school bus figure 8 racing, a wild and wacky boat and camper trailer race, flagpole races, the unpredictable skid cars, the chain race, a fan burnout contest, a women's minivan demo derby, and for the first time ever, the Bone Shaker jet-powered semi. Then we'll cap off the night with a huge fireworks display. Gates open at 5 p.m., the destruction starts at 7. But get there early for free rides and a real race bus. Kids 3 and under and parking are free. Crash-A-Rama. Saturday, August 5th, 7 p.m., Lake Erie Speedway, driven by ProAce. It's the wildest show on wheels, and you gotta be.
And we're back with more action for qualifying for round number 2 of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series presented by Moty's. Quick shout out again. Thank you to Formula Drift for sanctioning the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. The champion will receive their Link ECU Pro Spec license as well. And also Link ECU, who will be giving the top 3 in points of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series a Link ECU at the end of the series. So a couple of cool things going on there. We're getting ready for second chance qualifiers. And basically, there's going to be 10 people that are going to have to take a crack at a second run here. Only 4 of those people will advance into the top 16 of competition tomorrow. So 6 people will be driving for fun for the rest of the weekend, and 4 will be competing in the big show tomorrow. Well, we got a couple minutes of downtime here. So today we will be drifting until about 11:30 p.m. is the last session. It starts at 11 and they're half-hour sessions. So you can still make it out to the Speedway here this evening, have a ton of fun, get in some cars, go for a ride along, get up close and personal with our Pro-Am Series drivers and their vehicles. Tomorrow we start driving at 10 a.m. with competition practice and 9 a.m. drivers meeting. The competition will be at 11 a.m. tomorrow, so if you're watching the live stream, make sure that you tune back in tomorrow about 10:50 or so you don't miss any of the action. The competition will be ending roughly about 1:30 p.m., and then we will be drifting until 11:30 again tomorrow, so you can get out here and get some action. Tickets are available at the pit building when you make your way to the Speedway. And then on Sunday, we'll be drifting until 4 p.m. There's no competition or anything like that on Sunday, but you can make it out and check these cars out and have some fun. Looking forward, round number 3 of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series presented by Moty's will be September 1st through 2nd. It's another top 16 competition with a $1,000 purse and a $100 bonus to the top qualifier. And then round number 4 at the end of September, September 29th and 30th, followed by a jam session. That's going to be a top 32 competition. So if you're watching at home and you're a drifter, no matter how far and wide you are, it's a $7,500 total purse for the top 32 competition with a $500 top qualifier bonus. So don't miss out. If you've thought about coming to drive at the Speedway, that would be the time to do it. And then there's a $5,500 point fund for the top 5 in the series, with the champion receiving their Pro Spec license as well. And don't forget, the top 3 will be earning a Link ECU from Link as well. So a lot on the line for these guys to come out here and compete that way. We'll take a quick look. We're only 1 round down, so pretty straightforward here. But overall, so far on the series, Adam Heischman is sitting in that first spot with 100 points from last comp. Kevin Ferraro in second, and Alan Boss in third. Aaron Spiegel in fourth, and Matt Moncallion in fifth. So those 5 locked into that $5,500 points fund at the moment, and we'll see how that develops here tomorrow. Also, those top 3 going to be receiving Link ECUs. So right now those 3 would be Adam Heischman, Kevin Ferraro, and Alan Boss. So lots to grab here. One other thing, as we take a look at the Speedway, you can see the pits are absolutely packed with Lake Erie drivers and comp drivers. I believe I heard a number floated around about 250, if I'm not mistaken, here this weekend. So not everybody here yet. This will only be getting more full. And you have access to all of what you're seeing here on this beautiful drone footage of the Speedway. So you can come out, come walk through, come meet us, meet the drivers, see these cars, ask the questions. And if you want to get into it, I'm sure that there's a lot of guys over here that have stuff for sale as well. So if you ever thought about wanting to get into drifting, Lake Erie event could very well be the place that you do it. So stop on by, see if anybody's got anything for sale, or just come check it out. If it's not for you to ride in a drift car, just come watch and see what everything's all about here at the Speedway. Drift PA, Ohio, New York. You can find us on Facebook at Drift PA Ohio, New York, where you can see all the drift schedules and all that different kind of stuff. Also, the Lake Erie Speedway social medias to keep yourself up to date on what's going on at the Speedway. Or if maybe you had a business that you wanted to get into advertising at the Speedway, you can shoot us a message there. We'd be glad to have you. You can see all that white space there on the wall through turns 1 and 2. Your business could be advertised right there on the backstretch wall as well. So, you know, get your advertising out to hundreds and thousands of people that actually show up to the Speedway for the events, but also through the Pro-Am series in the live streams, grabbing a little bit more wide of an audience. So if that's something you might be interested in, please visit our Facebook page, shoot us a message, go to the website, give us a call at the office. We'd be glad to accommodate any advertising needs that you may have.
As you can see, we've got Tony Schmidt up on the track. He's about to do his burnout, get his tires all warmed up, and get the car ready for putting down another qualifying run. So we're hoping that he gets a better qualifying run than last, and if so, he will advance to the top 16. If not, unfortunately, he will not move on, and he'll just be, you know, hanging out with the homies for the rest of the time.
As I had mentioned earlier, Tony grinding it out on the simulator when not driving in real life, trying to get as much seat time in preparation for the series as he can. And Tony's off for his second qualifying run through the chicane into outside zone number 1. Much better initiation here, a little bit shallow on angle. Can hear that C5 bogging down quite a bit into the inner clip. Outside zone number 2 does a nice job of filling outside zone number 2. Outside zone 3, perfect right against that back white line. So Tony doing a great job of recouping from his first run to this second run and throwing down the smoke show down the backstretch for everybody that's watching.
You know, a little strange, man, because I know that car's got some good horsepower, but it seems like on that first bank there, it really struggles. I don't know if it's too gripped up, if he's got something mechanical going on, or maybe he's in too high of a gear. You know, obviously hard to tell from up here in the booth. Only Tony really knows, but definitely weird to see because I feel like that car should be banging limiter on that first stretch there.
Yeah, you know, it's I'm a driver as well, to give some perspective to everybody at home that's not a drifter. You know, I have an LS car as well, and I had tried going into outside zone 1. Scores up for Tony Schmidt, 20 on line, 18 on angle, 27 for style for a total of 65. Tony will better his first score with this second run. And the bubble right now is sitting at 47. So as I had mentioned before we went to commercial break, only 4 of these drivers are going to advance into competition tomorrow. So right now, Tony would be number 1, if I'm not mistaken. Ricky Gaston on his first run ended up with the C5 into the wall and outside zone number 1. He's going to take his competition timeout as he's got some damage to the front end of that car. So we will skip over Ricky temporarily as he tries to get that ironed out and see if he can lay down a score. Had a 0 on the first run with the contact with the wall straightening him.
All right, it looks like Elliott Rose will be joining us next on track with his LS swapped FRS. So like we spoke about before, super talented driver, and hopefully he got the heebie-jeebies out. He's ready to rock and roll, and will lay down a really nice lap for us on his second qualifying run.
So as I was mentioning about Tony, I have an LS swap car as well. I guess his isn't swapped, but so I had to try third gear on the big bank earlier today. That progressive banking really does want to drive you down the banking. So it can be rather difficult if you don't have the right amount of wheel speed to get in there. And kind of what I was fighting was second gear, I was banging off a limiter pretty early in the turn, and it just wasn't enough. So I had tried third, and I didn't really like that either. So it kind of seemed like Tony was in that same kind of scenario where the gearing between second and third was just a little bit oblong there, and kind of struggled to fill all of outside zone number 1. So
Needs a second and a half gear, it sounds like.
I would say so. And unfortunately, like the simulator, you can't just jump into a screen and change your gear sets. So unless you have a quick change rear end or something along that line.
So as you can see, we've got Elliott Rose out here doing his burnout, getting tires ready to lay down a pretty sweet lap for us, hopefully.
If you're watching from home, let us know where you're watching from. Drop a comment on the live stream. Give it a share. Tag a friend that needs to be here and not missing out on the action. Just qualifying here tonight. There will be competition action tomorrow starting at 11. Elliott Rose in the LS swapped FRS. Heading down into outside zone number 1. Good initiation right up against the wall. Leaves outside zone 1 just a touch early. A little bit wide on the inner clip, heading into outside zone number 2. Comes up just a little bit short, getting into outside zone number 2. Through outside zone number 3, he fills it very nicely. Certainly going to have to assume here that Elliott's going to improve over his first run.
Yeah, I definitely have to say that's going to be an improvement on the score there. So, the judges are going to figure out what they think, and we should display it here on the screen shortly. Next on track, we've got Aaron Farrell in his 2004 Infiniti G35. He's going to be doing his second qualifying run. So, we're hoping that everyone out here has, worked out the bugs in the car, is ready to rock and roll, and will come out and lay down a better run for us on the second qualifier here.
Score in for Elliott Rose, a 22 on line, a 20 on angle, and a 28 on style for a total of 70 for Elliott Rose. A really solid effort in his second qualifying run. Gonna solidify him a spot for the time being inside of the top 16.
Yep, so if my notes are correct here, he had a 58 for his first run. So, laying down a pretty solid run for his second qualifier, looking really good.
Aaron Farrell into outside zone number 1. Right up there, leaves the zone a little bit early, but making that VQ work good for him. A little bit wide on the inner clip, a little bit short on outside zone number 2. Outside zone number 3. Solid second run from Aaron. The VQ just not wanting to work its way up the hill of the banking. But he makes that thing work, that's for sure. See how that does for him here.
You know, I'm really curious if he has a nitrous on or not. I mean, it looks like the car's boogieing quite a bit, but, you know, it's hard to tell whether or not there is nitrous in the mix there. I didn't see any purge or anything like that, so hard to tell.
All right, so Jeff Clark coming to us for his second run. See if he can improve here.
It's got that good-looking Mustang. It's crazy. The thing looks like it's brand new off the lot. Beautiful car.
Jeff Clark into outside zone number 1. Initiates beautifully, comes out outside zone number 1 pretty early. Punches the inside clip, but looked pretty clean through there as far as where he was positioned. A little bit of a correction and maybe 2 tires out of outside zone number 2. Outside zone number 3 finishing off nicely for Jeff. See if he can improve. Sorry we didn't get Aaron Farrell's second score up there. Aaron had a 38 on his second run, so not going to be good enough to advance him inside of the top 16.
Next up, we've got Savannah Campbell. Her first score was a 0, hoping to improve on that 0 for her second run.
And not to be confused, as I had talked about Aaron's score, we never put up a score for Aaron. Jeff's score in now, a 12 on line, a 13 on angle, 11 on style for a total of 36. So not what Jeff was looking to do with his second run. Now we see Savannah Campbell and her KAT S13. Savannah going to head out of the chicane here into outside zone number 1. A nice perspective and a big flick as she misses outside zone number 1. Going to set her up very short of the inner clip, so that's going to be 4 wheels off course, I would imagine. Probably going to be an incomplete 0 for Savannah on her second run. We'll verify that here in just a minute, but I do believe with her going inside of the inside clip that would be a 4 tires off. Yeah, another 0 for Savannah on her second run. Unfortunately, just not able to get through outside zone number 1 efficiently and kind of set her up for failure into the inner clip there. So 2 0s for Savannah Campbell.
Next up, we got Josh Leatherbarrow in his 135i. Last score was a 45, so hoping to improve on that 45.
Lights are on, lights are out for Josh Leatherbarrow. Into outside zone number 1. Oh, maybe a straighten, yes, a straighten from Josh Leatherbarrow through outside zone number 1.
Yeah, like we discussed, you know, if you're not initiating hard into that Arizona 1 there, the rest of the course is super hard to kind of follow through with. So it's, like we discussed, it's super imperative to get into outer zone 1 to carry through with, the rest of the course there.
And that's the thing, you know, a couple of these guys making outside zone number 1 look like a cakewalk, but, you know, as I had mentioned earlier in the stream about me driving it throughout the day, it is certainly not that. There's so much grip on the banking because of the progressive banking that it just wants to drive you straight down the hill. So if you can't get in there and get committed, to big angle with good wheel speed heading into outside zone number 1, really going to have a tough time there, and it's going to set you up pretty poorly heading for the inner clip. So up next, we're going to see Blake Doge.
So, like we talked about before, Blake Doge is his first time competing here at the Great Lakes ProAm Series. We got Josh's score up. Josh with a 0 for his second run. So, unfortunately, no improvement on his first run there, but better luck to him next time. So, now we got Blake Doge out here in this beautiful blue S14. Is that an S14, Ben? Help me out on this. I'm not too good with the 240SX stuff, but the lights are on. The lights are off, and let's see what kind of run he can lay down. Hopefully better than his first, and we can put some points on the board here.
Blake into outside zone number 1, a little bit shallow on angle, a little bit shallow on the zone as well. Heading down towards the inner clip. Nice job getting the nose of the car right to the outer clip. Oh, and a mistake heading into outside zone number 2, going to leave him very shallow. Outside zone number 3, nice and wide. Gets a little bit locked up on the angle and spits him back out of there with some grip. So we'll see what happens here for Blake, but looked like a pretty solid run starting out, and then got a little bit shallow on the banking. So we'll see what that does for him here. But
got Andrew Wilder out there warming up his tires, getting that FRS ready to rock and roll, baby. Let's see what it can lay down. Hoping for a better run than his first. Blake's score is up on the board. He got a total of 43, 14 on line, 14 on angle, 15 on style, for a total score of a 43 for Blake Doge.
word coming over the radio that Ricky Gaston was not able to repair his car within the time allotted. So unfortunately, Ricky gonna turn in a 0 and not be able to continue after making some contact with the bank wall in outside zone number 1. Andrew Wilder heads out the chicane in that LS swapped FRS. Comes up short on outside zone number 1. You can hear him banging the limiter. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier with me driving. Misses the inner clip and comes up a little bit short on outside zone number 2. Cleans it up into outside zone number 3. I'm sure not what Andrew was looking to do with his second run. Missing outside zone number 1, missing the inner clip, and coming up just a little bit short on outside zone 2. So tough break there for Andrew Wilder on his second qualifying run.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be an improvement on the score. But look at that beautiful sunset that we're getting here on the drone footage. Absolutely gorgeous sunset here in northeast Pennsylvania here at Lake Erie Speedway. This is something that we're fortunate to see quite often here when we're out here drifting with the boys, especially if we get nice weather, which, few and far in between here at Lake Erie Speedway. You either really luck out and it's real nice, or, tornado warnings and monsoons and things of that nature.
Yeah, there's not really like just rainstorms here, right? It's like basically a full-blown tornado every time that it storms. So it's kind of funny how that works out. There's really no in-between there, but absolutely beautiful facilities here at the Speedway. AJ Moore, the general manager of the Speedway, does everything that he can to give us the best place to go drifting. 2 tire machines for us. He bought us a welder, put in a water pit to cool our tires down, repaved a section of the pits so that it was a little bit more clean and useful. Also, a total repave of the center section of the track. Andrew Wilder score in for his second qualifying run, an 8 on line, an 8 on angle, a 6 on style, for a total of 22. As I mentioned, certainly not what Andrew was hoping to do with his second qualifying attempt. So unfortunately, that a wrap?
That's a wrap.
So you could, as I had mentioned, you could hear Andrew on his second run. He must have tried the bank in second instead of third this time around, and he was on limiter early and often. So just unable to get out to outside zone number 1 because of that. So it can be really tricky, and some of these guys make it look pretty easy. Once you get down off of that banking, it's much more at the hands of your input. So pretty interesting how that works out in outside zone number 1.
All right, so up here on your screen, you'll see the top 16. So we've got Alan Boss in first, Chad Anderson in second, Casey Rodriguez in third, Theon Nelson in fourth, Matt Mancalian in fifth, Adam Heischman in sixth, Kevin Ferraro in seventh, Mike Sampson in eighth, Aaron Spiegel in ninth, Ryan Reese in 10th, Taylor Braun in 11th, Mike Steele in 12th, Elliott Rose in 13th, Tony Schmidt in 14th, Blake Doge in 15th, and Aaron Farrell taking the 16th spot. So that is our top 16, and we're looking forward to seeing all of you guys tomorrow.
Absolutely, and so it looks like Leatherboro and a couple other guys are not going to be making their way into competition here tomorrow, but certainly gave it their best effort here today. And like I had mentioned earlier, we're going to be going live tomorrow right around 11 a.m. If you're watching at home, make sure that you set yourself a reminder to head over to the Facebook page and jump on the live. You don't want to miss any of the action. Again, these guys are competing for quite a bit of money, and they're also competing for a pro spec license, so they throw it down out there like there is a lot on the line, and there is. So looking forward to getting into action tomorrow. Round 1 was absolutely amazing and gave us some really great battles. I'm sure tomorrow will be nonetheless. And just one other thing to touch on here before we get out of here, there's some guys that are some really good drivers that are qualified lower in the order here. So going to be some tough battles early on in the rounds tomorrow between some of the lower seeds and the higher seeds, being guys that are contenders every time they hit the track. So going to be a ton of action. And if you joined us on the live stream here tonight, we really appreciate you. Everybody that's come out to the track already here on Friday, thanks for coming out. Hope you guys are having a blast, and looking forward to joining you guys tomorrow. It's Ben Bruno and Brian O'Connor signing off from the booth. Have a great night, everybody.
Have a good night.